and he ran out of his home about 2 weeks ago into some woods around his house. That was when authorities were on their way to speak to him regarding an ongoing investigation. They made it clear at that time they were not going to arrest him. Well, it then came out that he is being investigated for child sex crimes. To be exact, child sexual assault material, SA material. Now, according to new reports, the U.S. Marshals have now offered a $5,000 reward for any information that leads to the arrest of Travis, who is now considered a fugitive. He is a married father from Big Stone Gap, Virginia. The U.S. Marshal Service is urging the public to report any tips on him or his location by calling 911, State Police, or the USMS tips line at 877-WANTED-2. Now, something else that really isn't breaking news, you probably already know about, but it has just been confirmed within the past few days, and I haven't told y'all about it yet, is the fact that he was seen leaving his home, walking into some woods, and it was recently confirmed by their family's attorney that he did have a weapon. He had a firearm with him. This was on Thursday, November 20th, when he was last seen. That's according to the family's attorney, Adrienne Collins. Now, according to reports I'm reading, his wife, Leslie, is kind of insinuating she doesn't know that he's done anything wrong or doesn't believe that he has, that she knows of. They've reportedly been married 25 years. I can imagine it's hard to believe and understand. I also read that she has scrubbed all of her social media presence in the wake of the arrest warrant for her husband, Travis. The family is praying that he is safe and will have the opportunity to defend himself in the court of law. He is reportedly wanted on 5 counts of possession of child SA material and 5 counts of using a computer to solicit a minor. Police said that additional charges against him are indeed pending. Virginia State Police, along with the FBI and the U.S. Marshals Service, are continuing to search for him. According to reports, he is no longer listed on the website as a staff member at Union High School, which is where he was the head football coach to an undefeated team this season. He's been there for years. Authorities have also warned the public that Travis could be armed and urged people to be careful if they see him and try to approach him. Anyway, that's really all the new information, even though it's not a lot that I have for now. I seriously don't believe he's alive anymore, but I could be wrong. I mean, how large is the area of woods around his home? I read where some people believe he might have been picked up and taken somewhere. Either way, my prayers still go out to his family members, because I can't imagine what they're going through, especially right here during the holiday season. I also pray for the victims of his crimes, alleged crimes. For more updates into this case and other true crime news, make sure to follow and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Hey guys, there's not really any huge updates regarding Travis Turner, but I did want to... This beautiful girl was a student at Texas A&M, and she reportedly died just hours after she attended a tailgate party, and that was in Austin, Texas this past weekend. But her mother is not liking the stories she's getting from the authorities and thinks there could be more to it. So this is 19-year-old Brianna Aguilara, and she is reportedly from Laredo, Texas. She attended Texas A&M, and she was going to be a lawyer in the future. Her mother is Stephanie Rodriguez, and she is reportedly speaking out about her daughter's death to news outlets. According to reports, Brianna was discovered deceased outside an apartment building by Austin police in the early morning hours of Saturday this past weekend. Now, Austin police have not revealed her official cause of death, nor have they even identified Brianna as the one who died. Her mother identified her to news outlets. They really only said in the news release that they responded to a report of a female who was unconscious at a location just west of the University of Texas campus, and that officers pronounced her deceased at the scene, where she was located at around 12:57 a.m. Reportedly, the police do not think that her death is suspicious, and they are not investigating it as a homicide. It was said the Travis County Medical Examiner's Office will determine the official cause of death, and as you know, that could take months. However, according to Brianna's mom, Stephanie, officers told her that her daughter jumped from the 17th floor of that apartment building where she was staying that night. Her mom is reportedly telling news outlets that there are a lot of inconsistencies with the story she's getting from police, though. She said she's being told that she jumped, but she's also being told that her friends, Brianna's friends, said they didn't know her whereabouts, indicating that no one actually saw her jump. Stephanie is also stressing that Brianna was in no way suicidal. She says she was so excited and really looking forward to becoming a lawyer in the future. Furthermore, Stephanie, the mother, thinks at least one of the 15 people inside that apartment at the time of her death knows more about what happened. She said there was a fight that occurred between her daughter and another girl, and that they were all staying at that same apartment that night. She said that she has actual text messages of that, but that the detective just totally disregarded her in the text messages. Daily Mail reported that they contacted contacted the Austin Police Department to ask them about the mother Stephanie's claims, and a spokesperson from the department said this just remains an open, ongoing death investigation, and that it is not being looked at as a homicide, and that the official cause of death will be determined by the county medical examiner's office. Reportedly, Brianna was actually in Austin for the Texas A&M game that was there this past Friday. She was with many other students from Texas A&M. She was reportedly a big football fan, and she was also a cheerleader in the past. She graduated from United High School in Laredo, where she was a cheerleader and graduated with honors. It was said she was just 1 year away from graduating Texas A&M, and it was her dream to do so. There's now a GoFundMe that has been set up to help her loved ones during this difficult time if you're interested in donating. This is so tragic, and I hope her family gets answers. In my opinion, authorities should not just assume this was a suicide, especially if there were over a dozen people in that apartment at the time she allegedly did it, or jumped. It definitely doesn't sound to me like she was suicidal, because if she was, why would she even attend an away game? Unless it was just super spur of the moment. I know that can happen. I stand with her mom, and I think police need to dig deeper into this case. Those are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments, and for more content, be sure to follow and subscribe on YouTube. This beautiful girl was a student at Texas A&M. Well, here's a different mugshot I hadn't seen yet of Lindsay Whiteside. She doesn't look very happy, does she? Good. There's a bit of an update in her case I wanted to share with you. In case you don't know, she is the former high school basketball coach and youth minister out of DeSoto County who actually pleaded guilty to having sex with a 14-year-old victim last year in 2024 multiple times. Well, recently, after she pleaded guilty, a judge gave her a joke of a sentence. He sentenced her to only 3 years of house arrest with a few years of probation after. And, well, that pissed people off in the community and really all over the world, and rightfully so. Well, because she got no jail time. So the state recently put in a request to actually have her resentenced. According to reports, her attorneys have now responded to that request, and they are disagreeing with her being resentenced, of course, because, well, they know she got a joke of a sentence. Her lawyers reportedly pushed back against a request from state prosecutors to have Lindsay resentenced. As I said in previous videos, DeSoto County District Attorney Matthew Barton was not happy about her sentencing, and he was very vocal about his opinion on it. So the state filed a motion to resentence her and argued that her sentencing was illegal. Then on November 7th, the state filed another motion to resentence her and claimed that her sentencing was obtained through fraud. Prosecutors said during that motion that 2 letters of support written on behalf of Lindsay and supporting her were later recanted, meaning people took those letters back that they had written in support of her and said to disregard them. I read that those 2 people who wrote those letters, who recanted them, said they were pretty much coerced into writing them. Well, according to new reports, her attorneys are calling that argument false and inflammatory, and said that those 2 people who recanted the letters never claimed that she was innocent, but instead provided aid in the judge's sentence. That judge was reportedly Andrew Howarth, and he later recused himself from her case and said that it was due to conflict with District Attorney Matthew Barton. Her attorneys further said that those recanted letters were just 2 of 49 total letters written to aid the judge in sentencing her. So 49 people wrote letters in support of a child sex predator. They reportedly said that those 2 recanted letters make up a small amount of evidence that the court received before she was sentenced. So her attorneys are saying that this is not legal grounds to overturn her original sentencing. They stated that the insinuation that 2 mitigation letters by teenagers in any way influenced the judge to an extent that his decision on sentencing should be reversed because of their retraction, they said that defies logic. No, it doesn't, not really. Attorney Joseph Cooper reportedly wrote that in the response that was reportedly filed this past Monday, so about a week ago, and that was in DeSoto County Circuit Court. As you know, Lindsay is also now facing federal charges for allegedly transporting a minor across state lines for sex. Her trial is reportedly set for February 9th of next year, 2026, and her bond was luckily recently revoked. She still remains in custody in Lafayette County, thankfully, and I hope she stays in custody. She and her attorneys are sick in the head, in my opinion, for thinking she deserves no jail time, and so are 49 people who allegedly wrote letters of support for her, especially after she actually pleaded guilty for having sex with a 14-year-old girl that she groomed. There was so much proof against her, it's not even funny. Y'all, school board members, principals, teachers wrote letters of support. Those people do not need to be in education. Do you think she should be resentenced? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and for more updates into this case and other true crime news, be sure to follow and subscribe on YouTube. Well, here's a different mugshot I haven't seen yet of Lindsay Whiteside. She doesn't look very happy, does she? Good. There's a bit of a pregnant woman was attacked, raped, drop the G, murdered, and mutilated by a group of total strangers who kidnapped her. This story is awful, so I'm going to go ahead and give a trigger warning. 8 people are now facing charges in Rhode Island in connection with the death of a pregnant woman whose mutilated body was found in a wooded area. The charges they are facing reportedly include murder and kidnapping, among others. 24-year-old Erica Bader's family said these people both killed her and her baby she was carrying. The two of them unfortunately suffered fatal injuries in the crash, and they were pronounced deceased at the scene. That was after Jose's gray Audi crashed into the vehicle they were in. One of the vehicles reportedly erupted into flames after the collision. I'm not sure whose vehicle that was. I would assume the couple's. According to reports, Jose suffered only minor injuries, and he was arrested on 2 charges of automobile homicide, driving under the influence, wrong-way driving, and he also got a violation of his learner's permit. It was said that Jose even admitted to not feeling safe behind the wheel at the time he was driving it. The southbound lanes of the interstate near the wreck were reportedly closed for several hours. It was said they reopened Saturday morning at around 10 a.m. One state trooper reportedly told news outlets it was one of the worst crashes he had ever seen. There's now a GoFundMe that has been set up to help both Annika and Leo's family during this difficult time. Anna has been described as a loving and caring soul whose warmth touched everyone she ever met. It was said she was known for her stubborn spirit, her zest for life, and the way she lived life to its fullest. She reportedly worked in an elderly care home, and she had received several scholarships to colleges. Leo was described as the kind of person whose presence made everything feel lighter. It was said he had that big-hearted teddy bear type kindness that wrapped around the people he loved. He was described as a gentle, warm, and real hard worker and family man with a huge heart of gold. Furthermore, it was said he was an uncle who absolutely adored all of his nieces and nephews. This is so tragic and honestly very sad. It should have never happened. First off, Jose, being a learner driver, should have never been driving on an interstate that late at night, or early in the morning, I should say, especially since he admitted to not feeling 100% comfortable. So not comfortable and under the influence is a recipe for disaster. It took the lives of 2 beautiful young people who had their entire lives to live, and they would have made such a huge difference in this world. It's just not fair. My prayers go out to all of Annika's and Leo's loved ones, and I also pray that justice is served to the fullest in this case, and that Jose gets more than just a slap on his wrist. For more true crime, be sure to follow and subscribe if you're ever on YouTube. This story is absolutely terrible and so heartbreaking. Y'all won't believe what these parents allegedly did to their child and why they were arrested. This story is unbelievable. A Wyoming couple was recently arrested after the woman's 14-year-old son was tortured and malnourished. 36-year-old Stephanie Link, pictured here on the left, and 35-year-old Michael Gruchaks are each accused of 2 counts of aggravated child abuse. The issues reportedly date back to at least 4 months ago, but the situation really came to light on October 16th when the couple had to bring the child to a hospital in Cheyenne. When the 2 of them arrived with the boy, Stephanie claimed that he had been starving himself of food and beverages. The mother then reportedly told staff at the hospital that she had been forcing her son to drink around 2 gallons of water every day. When the child was taken to the hospital, he was reportedly 5'4" and only weighed 92 pounds. To explain the boy's weight, Stephanie, the mother, allegedly said he had several behavioral issues and that he refused to eat because he wasn't allowed to eat junk food and soda. Well, hospital staff noticed a different problem, and that was that the little boy had a long-term untreated wound on the back of one of his ears. He also reportedly had several bruises and scrapes all over his body. Police said as for the excess water consumption, it had actually caused way more harm than good. The boy's excessive consumption of the water had caused a condition called hyponatremia, which is when the amount of salt in the body is too low due to the constant flushing of electrolytes from the body. Medical employees reportedly told police that the boy would have likely died had he not gotten the treatment he did when he was at the hospital. The hospital staff also said the boy had an oxygen saturation level of 82%, and the normal is between 95 and 100%. The child reportedly faced the possibility of total organ failure if his condition had not been treated when it was. After the boy was discharged from the hospital, he allegedly told investigators that his mom, Stephanie, would often yell at him and hit him, and she would also often drag him on the carpet. The victim further said that his stepfather, Michael, had once hit him in the neck and shoulder with a karate chop. Prosecutors said the couple inflicted substantial mental and emotional injury by the torture or cruel confinement of the boy, as well as serious bodily injury. It was said the parents decided to take the boy to the hospital when he was vomiting and constantly urinating, and he then became unconscious, or unresponsive, I should say. The couple reportedly revived him in the bathtub before they finally called 911. When paramedics got to the scene, the stepfather, Michael, told police that the victim, the boy, was combative with them, so they, the parents, directly took him to the hospital. Thankfully. Now listen to this. Police reportedly obtained home surveillance video, and they saw in one of the videos Michael, the stepfather, pacing back and forth in front of the child before taking him to the hospital, and Michael allegedly told the child, "We will report everything you've done since that is the only way we can protect your mom." So he was placing the blame on that poor child. Eventually, the child was flown to a children's hospital in Denver, and he regained consciousness there the next day. Now, 5 days before he was put in the hospital on October 13th, there was another alleged conversation that was caught on video. Stephanie, the mom, stated, "He's eating now." Michael, the stepfather, allegedly then said, "Punch him in the throat," and was he looking for open kitchen hours? The affidavit also reportedly refers to another clip from home surveillance footage in the basement that shows Michael reportedly tells Stephanie when the child, the boy, was close by to them. He said, "You know, if you suspend him by his feet and make a small slit, all the blood in his body will drain out." Unreal. The boy also told police he had previously lived with his grandmother before coming to live with his mom and her boyfriend. While Stephanie and Michael accused the child of refusing food himself, doctors described him as being moderately malnourished and vitamin deficient and said he gained 11 pounds while he was in the hospital. Furthermore, in separate interviews with police, the boy's siblings reportedly told them that the brother, the victim, lived in the basement and that he was normally only allowed leftovers, ramen noodles, or peanut butter unless he earned the privilege of eating a meal until late January of 1957. The search for the girls ended when a local man found their bodies naked and abandoned in the snow on January 22nd of 1957. This was reportedly along a road in Willow Springs, Illinois, which is reportedly a western suburb of Chicago. Now, to begin with, an initial autopsy ruled that they had likely died due to the freezing cold weather, but police eventually ruled that their deaths were the result of a homicide. According to reports, Chicago detectives soon started to look into a man named Benny Bedwell, who was an out-of-state drifter who was actually spotted with the sisters by witnesses. Police thought the case was closed when Benny confessed to killing the girls, but he later took his statements back and said he was beaten by police into a confession. And since then, police have not really found another suspect, unfortunately. Decades after their murders went cold, there is still a huge interest, especially in that area, to find out what exactly happened to these girls. Retired Chicago police detective James Hennigan has reportedly dedicated a lot of his years after his retirement to investigate the Grimes murders and who killed them. He even started a Facebook page with thousands of members who are dedicated to researching and solving the Grimes sisters' case. One of James's biggest theories is reportedly that the Grimes girls' murders have a possible link to the 1955 murders of 3 young brothers named John Anton and Robert Schwessler. These brothers, like the sister, reportedly went to go watch a movie and then never returned back home. They were also later found abandoned and naked in a forest preserve on the northwest side of Chicago. Also, another retired police officer by the name of Ray Johnson has also dedicated many years of his life hunting for the killer of the Grimes sisters. But unfortunately, nearly 70 years after Barbara and Patricia were found deceased, there are still no answers or suspects. The girl's younger brother, James Grimes, reportedly told news outlets years ago that their deaths or murders still bothers him, especially around Christmas and the holidays. He said he now wonders if they were alive today, how many nieces and nephews he would have. He stated, "I just never assumed it would be solved, but maybe there's hope." Who killed these girls and why? Have you heard any theories? If so, share them in the comments. I do pray that one day this case is solved, but who knows if the killer is still alive today. It's okay, if the killer's dead, they're getting their real punishment in hell if they're no longer here. Do y'all like cold cases like these? Let me know in the comments, and share with me any cold cases you would like for me to talk about. For more introducing Tom and Jelly. Hey guys, as you know, I joined the online health company called Amble, and I have been on a deal. Hey guys, I have a very tragic update regarding the beauty influencer who went missing this past week. I shared a video about her disappearance yesterday. Influencer Stephanie Pieper has reportedly been found deceased. She was only 31 years old and she was found in a remote Slovenian forest. Police said the discovery of her body came after her ex-boyfriend allegedly confessed to them and directed investigators to the site where her remains were. The ex allegedly admitted to authorities that he strangled Stephanie, and he then guided them to where they could find her body. The ex, who has only been identified from what I've seen as Peter M., has since been transferred from Slovenia back to Austria, and both his brother and his stepfather have also been detained as part of the investigation. As I mentioned in the video yesterday, Stephanie was last seen this past Sunday. This was after she was dropped off at her apartment by a taxi after she had been at a Christmas party. Her loved ones became really concerned when she didn't show up for a scheduled modeling shoot the next day on Monday. Officers ended up tracking down her ex-boyfriend on Monday and reportedly found him close to a burning vehicle that had been set on fire. Authorities are now saying the ex intentionally set his car on fire, and well, that is very telling. It was in a parking lot at a casino. Authorities also found that the ex had crossed the Austria-Slovenia border. That was several times around that same time period she went missing. The ex, Peter, is described locally as a part-time security guard and unsuccessful poker player. When authorities checked Stephanie's apartment, her dog was found inside alone, and her phone had been turned off. According to reports, the photographer who was supposed to be working with her that next day on Monday with that photo shoot became worried when she didn't show and wouldn't answer his phone calls, and he couldn't reach her, so he went to her apartment building and unexpectedly encountered her ex-boyfriend, Peter M., there. It was said the ex-boyfriend let the photographer inside, but the photographer was worried enough to where he immediately alerted police to what was going on. Officers reportedly arrived at the scene very quickly and then discovered that Stephanie's phone had been discarded in nearby bushes. While they were canvassing that area, neighbors reportedly told police that they had heard loud noises coming from her apartment the same morning she disappeared. Stephanie had also sent some chilling messages to a friend around that time saying that there was a creep in her stairwell and she hinted that she was being stalked. Those were the last words anyone would ever hear from her. This is so sad and senseless. My prayers go out to all of her loved ones. I had a bad feeling about this case from the get-go, but I was truly hoping I was wrong and that she would be found alive. For more true crime, be sure to follow and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Hey guys, I have a very tragic update regarding the beauty influencer who went missing this past week. I shared a video. Hey guys, I had...
So I'm doing a book on it.
Hey guys, there's a bit of new information regarding this beautiful girl out of New York who was shot and killed by her recently made ex-boyfriend. I did a video on this a few days ago, but as I said, there are a few new details out, including who the shooter was and exactly who Emily was, the amazing person she was. I also have pictures that show the two of them together months before he would take her life. This was while they were at prom, as you can see here in this photo, and they looked so happy. The main detail I wanted to update y'all with is the fact that the shooter, his identity has been released. The ex-boyfriend's name who shot his ex-girlfriend is Austin Lynch, and he reportedly just turned 18. Pictures that were recently released show Austin and his ex-girlfriend, Emily Finn, looking happy as they danced together at prom. As I said, he shot and killed Emily. Austin now reportedly faces a second-degree murder charge for shooting Emily the day before Thanksgiving on Wednesday of this week. There is also a picture of Austin on social media as he poses with a gun while he was at a trap shooting event. As you know, Austin shot Emily inside his home on Wednesday that he shared with his parents. This was reportedly while Emily was home for the holidays on her college